talking with my daughter last night, and she tells me she doesn't know how to make quiche. Don't really know where she was when I was going through the quiche making stage, hanging out with her cousin in the shed, no doubt, studying hard for what they needed to be doing. Not. But anyway, I've put this video together, and this one's for you, Rikki, because you really need to know how to do this. I'm doing it in stages. This bit is I'm breaking eggs into a jug. I've got in the bottom of my jug some sun-dried tomato juice, because sun-dried tomatoes are going in. We're the middle of winter, and I'm using winter veg. Okay? Okay, rightio. What I've got here is diced red onion, capsicum, both of those out of the garden and frozen. I'm using up stuff that was grown last year and is in the freezer, right? Corn from the freezer, celery from the freezer. Okay, carrot, I've got some ham, silver beet out the garden, some sliced broccoli, so slice it like that, babe. I'm going for a block of feta cheese because they were on special. This here is sun-dried tomato, cut up little, and that's garlic, parsley, and that is a chili something or rather spice mix that I've made up. The other thing that I'm going to do is that's a little bit of casandi. I'm going to throw that in the egg mix, more flavour, and the whole lot's going in there. Okay, my little oven, hot setting, pastry needs hot, bake, and yeah, that's just warming it up, but it'll go in for probably close to an hour. You can use these little benchtop cookers rather than heating up the whole stove. In fact, that has reduced my power bill dramatically. Okay, time to put this together. Rightio, so the oven's heating up. And the other thing is, because I've frozen veggies, when you defrost them, and I defrost them before I put this together, otherwise everything will get too wet in there. What I do is, because the veggies have got a little bit of juice in the bottom where they've defrosted, that juice will go in the eggs. Alright, so I'm just giving them a little squeeze. Don't want it too wet, otherwise the pastry bottom will go soggy. It's also why you put the egg in at the very last, because as soon as you put wet in here, the pastry will absorb it. Capsicums. I like my celery on the bottom. Quite a bit of moisture in there still. carrots. I bought these carrots, I didn't grow them. Carrots are not easy to grow. Corns. Whatever, just layer whatever you've got. Whatever's on special. Whatever's cheap. I might throw my garlic in now. It looks big garlic, but it's elephant garlic, so it's not as strong as the little one. Might go ham on top of that. And again, this was a Christmas ham that went on special after Christmas time. Goes down to $9.95 a kilo. Buy one, chop it up, put it in the freezer. Ham is ridiculously expensive at any other time of the year. It only goes cheap after Christmas. And by the way, I don't put stuff in separate bowls like you're seeing. This is purely for you, Rikki D. I'm going to go a layer of broccoli, and this is why I cut it flat, and that's so that it doesn't stand up too much in the dish. Otherwise all the little pokey out bits will burn. Right, we might go the rest of those capsicums. And then silver beet, washed, cut up out of the garden this morning. Chuck them all in, nicely. Right. I'm going to go parsley on top of that, because parsley on the top layer without a layer of cheese over the top will burn, and I'm not using cheese, standard grade cheese this time. I am going to poke feta in. Here's my feta. It was cheap, that's why I bought it. 2 blocks for $5 or something ridiculously cheap. Pushing it down because I want the egg to cover everything, because it's the egg that will stop it from over browning. pushing. Get in there. Nice. Maybe break some of these up a little bit more. Farmhouse, rustic, not fancy, just get it in there. Perfect. Spinach and feta. Right, and then my sun-dried tomatoes over the top. I'm not using tomatoes, it's the middle of winter. They import those bloody horrible plastic Aussie things and charge us something horrendous like $15 a kilo. I can't stand going to the supermarket at this time of year. It's depressing. Right. Nice. I just wash my hands and stuff, okay? Okay, clean hands, and I've cleaned up the benches. Nothing worse than working in a mess. So I'm just giving my eggs a bit of a beat up. Now, the only reason I put feta on that is because I found it on special. Normally I would grate cheese and put the cheese over the top, alright? That's what you would remember Rikki did. You probably had the munchies, so you maybe didn't remember. Okay. So that ended up being a dozen eggs. Sounds like a lot, but this will get cut up into quite a few pieces. Right. And then pouring over. Marvellous. Look at that, eh? Little bits in the bottom from the cassandi. Right, and don't know if you can see that, but I just tip the dish so that the egg comes up, not over the edge of the pastry, otherwise you'll end up with it all stuck to your dish. I've sprayed this dish with that sprayed cooking oil stuff. That's to stop everything from sticking. You really need a good spray, or you can butter your dish. Okay, so everything's got a good layer of egg all over it. I'm just poking down, making sure. Tucking it all into bed. Tucking it all into bed. Right. And then that is going into my preheated oven over there. 45 minutes to start with, and then I'll stick it with a knife and make sure that the egg is set. I'll put that in for 50 minutes. Depending on the heat of your oven and how small it is, you need to cook it so that, on a hot oven to start with, so that the pastry browns. Okay, there's nothing worse than a soggy bottom. No soggy bottoms. If it looks like the pastry is cooking faster than the egg, tear off a bit of tin foil, put it over the top of the egg. That will reflect some of the heat so that the egg cooks and the pastry's not burning. These are tricks that you learn just by looking at it over years. Anyway, I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Stink! I've just realised I cut the top of my head off in most of that video. Not much I can do about it now. It still gives you the guts of how to make a quiche, babe. I realised my mistake when I saw my seasoning sitting on the bench. So this is just one of those cheap chili flavourings, but it might have been barbecue something to begin with. So yeah, over the top, and I whacked it quickly back into the oven. Yeah, so 50 minutes to start with, and we'll take it from there. A bigger oven might be a bit long. Cool, okay, see you soon. Okay, babe, so this has been in for 40 minutes, and I can see that the egg is still soft. So I'm going to put a tin foil over it. And I'm going to turn it down to about 150 and give it another 20 minutes. Beaut! Okay, so that quiche has been in the oven a full hour plus an extra 15 minutes. Probably because it's a deep dish and there was a dozen eggs in it. Let me get you closer. So I covered the top of it because it's brown. The knife is pretty much clean. Okay, and also the pastry is pulling away from the sides. That's how you know you're done. Like, yeah. So that I'm going to cut into, that would be ordinarily 3 by 4. So 12 pieces of quiche. So basically 12 servings. Yeah, there you go. Bit of cassandi on the side, bloody ripper.